presentation, and I'll introduce that in just a second. Those who are representing your teams are lined up by the color of their divisions. We have our senior judges here, and the way we are going to do this is I will call up the speakers from each of the divisions by color, and then you come up one by one, you approach the microphone. Of course, feel the freedom of adjusting it, and then introduce your team name and number. And then the senior judges will mark their experiences of your presentations. All of the students from each of the divisions will give their 90-second presentation, at the end of which we will then ask the senior judges one by one to share their general observations of what they've heard and how they've experienced you. Okay? That's the 90-second presentation. Imagine that you are an employee of the company and you encounter an executive who asks you why sustainable development is important and how is that linked to the team's topic. You have 90 seconds in which to convince the executive why this needs to be addressed. One member of the team will do this. There will be no Q&A. The senior judges will provide feedback after your presentation. And I will be a timekeeper. I will be gentle, but it will be 90 seconds, okay? You guys good? Okay. All right, so let's begin with the green division. If you could kindly come here, please, and line up. Go.
My team name is Summit Consulting, U02. When I used to think of sustainability, I mainly thought of that green check mark, that environmental aspect. And Boeing has done well in this aspect in the past regarding our green power initiatives and the reduced carbon emissions. However, this is limited to the environmental aspect of sustainability. I believe there's so much more to sustainability and so much more to sustainability at Boeing. Let's talk about it. It's no secret that Boeing has a history and a reputation that is currently threatening our present and future profitability. In order to avoid this, we have to become the most ethically responsible and socially responsible corporation that we possibly can. We do this by breaking the mold of what we consider sustainability to be and redefining that stereotype. In order to do this, we have a recommendation of an agentic AI solution system that focuses really on reporting. The benefit of this is that it goes beyond that specifically environmental standpoint and touches on SDG number 9. SDG number 9 focuses on the resilient infrastructure, the sustainable and inclusive industrialization, and that innovation aspect. The benefit of this is that our system focuses on the cross-functional communication and collaboration using Boeing's existing technology and future technologies that are emerging. So it really applies to that SDG number 9. With this recommendation, we're going to take Boeing beyond, and we will unite.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Team Eco Edge Consulting, which is U39. Hi, it's nice to meet you. My name is Anna Kron, and I'm a partner of Eco Edge Consulting. We've been working on a sustainable solution with your concrete development division at Wholesome Bangladesh, and I'd love to get an executive opinion on our vision. Bangladesh has been seeing a growing need for sand in concrete production, specifically because of urbanization and mass construction efforts. This has led to a depletion of the environment, depletion of quality of life, and reduced infrastructure. Because of this, we suggest that Wholesome replace up to 40% of sand in their concrete mixes with rice husk ash, or RHA. RHA is a waste byproduct that is an inexpensive and high-performance substitute for sand. But why should you even care? Well, our global environment is changing. Sustainable business procedures are no longer optional. They're expected by the public and necessary for the future of our planet. Wholesome can take the lead on RHA early to establish their brand as leaders in the sustainable innovation, as well as setting the tone for what the future of construction should look like. But this isn't just a business proposal. Wholesome can This is not just a business proposal. Wholesome will be able to protect the ecosystems of Bangladesh, protect the people in the local communities, and create hope, not just for the future of construction, but for the ecosystems, rivers, and the people of Bangladesh.
I Move Consulting Group, which is U12. Personally, I grew up drinking Pepsi. It was my mom's drink of choice, and it's now my drink of choice. There's a very strong brand loyalty between PepsiCo and its consumers. Microplastics is an issue we've been hearing about a lot in the past couple of years. But what exactly does that mean? Well, we all consume 12 bags of plastic a year. It's April, and we've already consumed 4. I'm Ryan, and as CEO of PepsiCo, I recommend that we switch from rPET plastic to PLA plastic. rPET plastic was recently seen as the cutting edge and new and better kind of plastic because it's recyclable. But just because something is recyclable does not mean it's A, the best option for the environment, and B, does not release microplastics into the environment. PLA, on the other hand, is biodegradable and compostable, meaning it is eventually constantly degrading until it becomes nothing. There's no microplastics in our bodies, and there's no microplastics in the environment. PepsiCo claims in its mission statement to be creating more smiles and protecting the future of our children and grandchildren. But the actions and the mission statement of PepsiCo do not align. I don't want my grandchildren to deal with this. I don't want your grandchildren to deal with this. Let's bite this in the butt now, so instead we can align our mission statement to our actions and move towards a better future in which we're not only protecting our health, but the environment. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Abby Van Born with Goodwill Consulting, U23. Sustainable development is no longer just a nice to have. It is a key pillar in responsible business. Every day, perfectly edible food gets thrown away, while simultaneously, millions of Americans go hungry. Well, what if Kroger could lead the fix in this? Not by a major change, but by implementing smarter tools. At Goodwill Consulting, we propose a two-tiered solution, using Eviden's Fresh Sense in Amsterdam. Together, they streamline inventory management by tracking real-time data of produce. This allows for a greater optimization of donation windows if the produce is not sold in time. This aligns directly with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, number 2, Zero Hunger, and number 12, Responsible Consumption and Production. Additionally, though, it aligns with your mission at Kroger, to feed the human spirit. This calls for a more just world of not just prioritizing profit, but also prioritizing people and the planet. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I am Team Nike Next, and that is U10. Honestly, I've been thinking Nike has not been historically sustainable. When it comes to 2023, our carbon emissions were 9.54 million metric tons. While we claim to be solving the issue with our Move to Zero campaign, that's a campaign in name alone. Our target by 2030 is to cut carbon emissions by 63%. But since 2020, we've only cut carbon emissions by 1.6%. It's 2025. We are running out of time. When it comes to Nike, we are a company that is doing negative, when we can create positive. So we have an ethical responsibility to right our wrong. So let's just do it. We have a solution of sustainable apparel. Imagine, in the markets that we dominate and control that have historically not had sustainable apparel, we can implement that as the producers, in which way we can facilitate responsible consumerism. I want to pitch a team that talks about what's next for Nike. Team Nike Next. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Christian Pito, representing U15 for FOE Consulting. Now, in the agricultural sector, there is a lot of problems, but two main issues I want to talk about are animal welfare and consumerism transparency. Now, animals, specifically in the dairy industry, are sentient beings and are deserving of humane treatment. That's not always the case. We need to kind of create some sort of, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Some sort of transparency through consumers, because one big issue we see is the mistreatment of cows a lot. And a big issue within that is how, I'm so sorry.
Good morning. I am with you, no, not you, G13. We are Terra Consulting. Good morning. As Microsoft continues to expand in its AI capabilities, sustainability must remain a top priority. In 2023, Microsoft data centers consumed over 6.3 million cubic meters of water. That's a 32% increase from the year before. And in 2022, those same data centers consumed 460 terawatt hours of electricity. That computes to roughly 2% of the global average. With these growing demands, it makes it increasingly difficult for Microsoft to meet its goal of matching 100% of its energy to carbon-free energy by 2030. Now, to combat this, we suggest implementing solar and energy power grids directly on Microsoft sites. Generating renewable energy decreases the dependence on fossil fuel-based power grids, decreases operational costs, and reduces emissions. Additionally, we suggest implementing a water efficiency framework, which includes a closed-loop cooling system to recycle water, water efficiency, or water initiatives to treat and reuse water, and lastly, government partnerships to increase those benefits, or those efforts to replenish water. Now, these initiatives not only decrease freshwater consumption, but they also protect those local communities. These strategies reduce cost, meet our sustainability goals of 7 and 12, and lastly, they strengthen Microsoft's brand reputation. Microsoft can continue leading the world in sustainable AI while maintaining that value and long-term trust. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm from Team Clean Luxury Consulting and I represent G05. Hi, Mrs. Speck, I'm Nisha from Global Operations. I've just returned from our 3 textile factories in Bangladesh and have something urgent to run by you. I discovered that our traditional jet dyeing process is actively contributing to the country's water pollution crisis, and it's because it requires our factories to release contaminated wastewater into the rivers that those local communities rely on for everything, from bathing to drinking. I strongly believe that continuing engaging in this process does put our company in an ethical contradiction to our mission that aims to reduce the environmental barriers to the collective well-being. But I did hear a solution proposed to the board yesterday that will take us out of this dilemma, and it will propose significant cost savings with a simple modification to our production process by switching over to waterless digital textile dyeing machines called Endeavor. Not only will this solution fulfill our goal of sustainable production and consumption, but will do so again with those significant cost savings. You see, Endeavor is so advanced that just one machine replaces 5 of our traditional ones. And with a complete elimination of excess water, dyes, and energy, we'll be witnessing $1.7 billion in savings annually. But with all that said, Mrs. Speck, I will leave you with this. If Lululemon wishes to become the change it so desires to see in the textile industry, we cannot miss this opportunity.
Hello, I'm Nicole from Grounds for Change and I'm G04. From early morning risers to late night sleepers, coffee has become an integral part of our daily lifestyle. Everyone, when choosing coffee, we choose between 2 things, usually flavor and price. Sometimes we consider that these coffee beans may be sustainably and ethically sourced, but we don't really consider what happens after the brew. Each Peet's coffee location generates an average of 15 to 20 pounds of used coffee ground daily. And while we do have the measures to sustainably source, to segregate, and to dispose of this waste, that's exactly where the coffee life cycle ends. It begins from brew and ends at the cup. But what if we can then extend this lifestyle? And as a company who prides themselves in sustainable and ethical sourcing, shouldn't we then extend that responsibility beyond the farm and into our stores? With this, Grounds for Change has the solution. We want to turn our used coffee grounds into coffee textiles, not only lowering emissions, reducing waste, but also building a sustainability story that both our customers and employees can literally wear. With this, true sustainability does not have to only include what happens with the bead, but it can also include what happens after. With this, I'd like to send over a proposal, or even better yet, let's grab a coffee and ground this change into action. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Victoria Shore with Clean Horizons Strategies, and I'm on Team G03. Hey Donnie, I'm so glad I got to catch you. I know you've been really stressed out about this impending lawsuit as it relates to your net zero goals. We are really excited to propose a solution. We were hoping we could actually ease your mind. At Clean Horizon Strategies, we're promoting the idea of agrivoltaics. Agrivoltaics is the dual use of land for both solar energy generation as well as livestock or crop production. We believe that agrivoltaics will help you to reduce your water consumption, create an additional revenue stream, even bolster your energy resilience, and help you to improve the lives of your farmers. With agrivoltaics and our basic pilot program, you would only adopt about 10 of your farms, and that could reduce about 13 million, or that could add to about 13 million to your revenue. We believe that this could help you in so many different ways and also improve the lives of the farmers that are around you. By creating a stable revenue stream, they would no longer be negatively impacted by things like the bird flu or difficult weather experiences either. So let's work together. Let's find a new way to empower our farmers and to create a new revenue stream that powers the coop together. I was hoping that I could send the proposal over and we could find some more time to review it together. Thanks.
Hi everyone, I'm Kanisha and my team is Sugar and we are U17. So I wanted to discuss something that has been a crisis discussion over at IBM. So we have been searching about traffic congestion, which not only impacts the people, but it also has a real world impact. Okay, sorry. We have seen how ambulance and fire trucks are stuck in traffic, and that means it's more emissions, more carbon wastage, more fuel wastage, and less time for the first responders. So we have a solution that involves AI, specifically IBM Watson. It is to optimize the traffic flow for the first responders. Think smarter routing, adaptive traffic signals, and predictive congestion. What's exciting is that it's not only impactful, but it also saves lives. So it's a win-win. We save lives and reduce our environmental footprint, especially in communities where there are underserved people and emergency is not accessible to the first responders. Thank you.
Hello everybody, I'm with group U03, Core 4 Consulting, and my name is Micah. Sustainability is no longer about doing the best of the worst. We are now looking to do simply the best. We are out here to look to do it better than we have before. At Core 4 Consulting, that is what we are looking to do with our solution of Neopalm. Cargill needs to take this as their mission. They need to go through and see this as an opportunity to go into the palm oil industry that everyone uses. 50% of consumer products used every single day are used with palm oil. It is something that is inherently unsustainable. It is a business model that cannot be continued, but there is a solution. There's synthetic palm oil using C16 Biotech's new product, which is used using a yeast fermentation technology. And this technology allows us to stop deforestation. It allows us to use less land and produce more at a cost that is not unsustainable and a cost that can be driven down to the same price of traditional palm oil. This is something where we can go out and we can really be a force for good. We can go into an industry of palm oil that is really struggling, something that is horrible for the environment and horrible for our triple bottom line. And what we can do is go out and make a difference, and we can be leaders in this second. All we have to do is go out and do it. Thank you.
I'm Ashish and I'm from U37. Team name Coastline Consulting. Good morning, Doug. Didn't think I'd be on the elevator with the CEO this morning. I must tell you, I just got a call from my family doctor, and he just informed me that my daughter's been diagnosed with early onset asthma. And to think we just moved next to our ranch 2 years ago. I wonder if it has anything to do with all the methane emissions. My friend Charlie just told me as well that he lost his house to the wildfires. The reporters at the Times have it all attributed to climate change and rising temperatures. The article also went on to say that methane has 28 times the ability to trap heat in the Earth's atmosphere as carbon dioxide. And I know, working at the Harris Ranch, that methane is our biggest emission. In my 15 years of employment here, I've seen our sales increase significantly, over 50%. But it's taken me my daughter's diagnosis to realize that our carbon footprint has been growing as well. Didn't the team from Coastline Consulting come in and suggest Sea Grace, this new seaweed-based feed supplement that, if added just to our cattle feed, can reduce methane emissions simply at our ranch by up to 80%? Now, I joined this company because of our commitment to sustainability and being a leader in the industry. And I'd love to continue working for that very same company. So if I were you as the CEO, I would sign that contract and onboard Sea Grace before the end of today. Thank you. I'll be seeing you.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. My name is Jenna Besh, and I'm thrilled to be representing Helios Consulting today. I hope you're all doing well. So Costco has a unique position to enhance climate sustainability in a way that very few other companies are able to. We have 125 million customers all across the world, and suppliers are vying to work with us. And we already have a climate action plan in place. We want to reduce emissions by 20% by 2030. However, 97% of our current emissions aren't directly attributable to Costco. They're attributable to our suppliers. So you may be thinking, how do our suppliers' actions and how sustainable or unsustainable they are have to do with us? How could we fix that? I have a solution for you. We can incentivize our suppliers to participate in ICLF farming, in a crop, livestock, and forestry farming, where some or all of these aspects are present on one farm, rather than a single crop being present on a farm where one disease or crop can wipe them out like that, which we see is very common. So by having several of these aspects on one farm, you can actually resource share and split costs among the farm. You can have the livestock be fed by the crops, you can have the livestock fertilize the crops, etc. And a benefit to this is that by having those work together, you can cut costs of synthetic feed and fertilizer, which degrade the environment, animal, and even human health. So by engaging in ICLF farming, both Costco and suppliers can cut manufacturing costs by 54% and reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 32%. So not only would we be cutting costs and actually exceeding our climate action plan, we would do so in a way where we can work directly with suppliers and save the environment and cut costs ourselves. So that's why something like this would be so helpful. Thank you so much.
U22, Next Gen Tech Solutions. Hey there, let me hit you with a stat that's hard to ignore. Did you know that training a GPT-4 AI model can consume the same amount of water that you used to manufacture 370 BMWs? Imagine wasting a whole dealership worth of luxury cars just on a training run. That's not just shocking, it's unsustainable, and especially for a company like Microsoft who's committed to being water positive by 2030. It's not something that a lot of people think about, but as the world continues to buy into AI development, these hidden costs are becoming impossible to ignore. Luckily, I work on a team that's tackling this exact problem. My name's Patrick Phelan, and I'm with Next Gen Tech Solutions. We're an up-and-coming consulting company who specializes in sustainable innovation for high-performance technology systems. Right now, Microsoft may be leading the charge in AI with Copilot, but the way you're cooling your data centers is putting a serious strain on the Earth's freshwater resources. That's why at NextGen we're pushing for a smarter, greener solution. We would like to implement a closed-loop propylene glycol-based cooling system to your data centers. It would drastically reduce your water consumption, is more environmentally safe, and it would still keep your servers running at an efficient scale. It's something that's already been proven to work in other industries like food, cosmetics, and pharmaceuticals, and we think it's time to bring it to you. This is a chance for your company to not be a leader in technology, but in accountability. By rethinking how we deal with this issue, we can show that sustainability and growth can coexist. Because at the end of the day, we're not just cooling machines, we're changing the future.
Hi, my name is Iman, and my consulting team is Thrive Trio, EMN consulting firm. Hello, Mr. Zuckerberg. I'm so glad I get to catch up with you. I actually wanted to talk to you about an urgent matter. This urgent matter includes our situation about the challenges that we've been facing. It's including lawsuits and privacy violations and a growing erosion of trust with users. We have faced backlash where this has been affecting our company. This has been affecting our company tremendously. And as an employee, we cannot just stand here and afford to watch all this unfold and let our company get hurt. So we need to find an opportunity. I think I can continue.
I'm Regina Gutierrez. I'm representing Team U19, the biogas solution, natural gas. Hi, we have a huge problem. I'm talking about greenhouse gases, specifically methane and carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide emissions are skyrocketing globally, and methane, while there's less of it, traps in way more heat. Mexico, by the way, is one of the huge emitters. This is a huge problem for our planet, but it also has a lot of bad repercussions for our health. Air pollution is responsible for millions of premature deaths, and methane produces ground-level ozone, which is really bad for our breathing. Did you know that breathing in one bad day of air pollution in Mexico City equates to smoking 40 cigarettes? Think about this. In 2024, there were 11 instances where there was a contingency plan put into place due to the bad air quality in Mexico City. This means that there were 11 days where citizens in Mexico City were breathing in air as bad as smoking 40 cigarettes. This is where our solution, biogas, comes into play. Biogas is a renewable fuel that is produced from the anaerobic decomposition of organic waste, such as agriculture, organic waste, and food residue. Get this, we can produce both electricity and gas 24/7 without any weather limitations. It takes up very little place and produces a circular economy. And it reduces methane emissions and carbon dioxide emissions big time. So, biogas isn't just some niche thing. It directly attacks emissions, it improves air quality because it replaces dirty fuels, and it also uses waste that would otherwise be, thank you so much.
Good morning, my name is Angelia Finicaro, and I'm part of Aura Beauty Consulting, U40. The beauty and cosmetics industry are leveraging natural ingredient sourcing to address consumer concerns of the health and safety of products they are applying to their skin. Brands such as Tarte Cosmetics, however, are operating in a society plagued by overconsumption, where sustainability is often an afterthought. To satisfy consumer demand, these brands are extracting resources at unsustainable levels, leading not only to environmental degradation, but also infringing upon human autonomy. It is imperative for sustainable business operations to ensure that we are working with our suppliers and ensuring that these ingredients are ethically sourced. By doing so, this creates a strong foundation that also safeguards consumer autonomy as they are able to make more fully formed decisions about the products they are buying. Because hey, who wants to buy a product that's only good for themselves when you can buy a product that provides financial and social mobility for those within the supply chain? Thus, it is Tarte's duty to balance the levels of resource extraction with consumer demand. By doing so, we will be upholding and working with environmental integrity and also ensuring that our supply chain is efficient. Thank you.
Veritas Consulting, U14. Tesla, once hailed as the sustainable king of the EV market, now be under fire. For what? Not for what we build, but for what we choose to ignore. Our supply chain has been linked with forced labor, poisoning of water, and the displacement of entire communities in the Democratic Republic of Congo. To be honest, we haven't been doing a great job. There's a clear disconnection between our mission to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy and the reality we live in. We may not be responsible for the mine, we may not be extracting the mines, the minerals, but we are directly responsible for what we fund, for what our name funds, the poisoning of children and the destruction of environments. But we can take a step forward. A step of innovation and integrity. Through AI-powered satellite imaging, we can bring visualization into remote mines, preventing environmental harm and labor violations. And with Cobalt credits, we can empower ethical cooperatives, making ethical sourcing a competitive advantage. The time to act is now. If we don't, we'll lose our leadership. And even worse, we will compromise the very future we, as Tesla, set out to build. Thank you very much.
Group 09 from Sustainabuilders, and my name is Dermot Sheen. As an employee of WeWork, I'm extremely proud of our partnership with Amazon and proposed expansion to transform vacant office spaces into co-residential living communities. Across America, towering office spaces sit empty while thousands struggle to find affordable housing. This imbalance is not just unsustainable, it's economically crippling, but it also presents a unique opportunity. In San Francisco, for example, home to a nation-high near 40% office vacancy rate, the city is ground zero for innovation. And by leveraging WeWork's expertise in real estate development, alongside Amazon's near $4 billion allocated towards housing equity, our partnership holds the key to mitigating these vacancies. Thoughtful real estate development is a form of human development, a profitable investment for both WeWork and Amazon. As a young employee entering the workforce alongside a generation of workers worried about finding affordable housing in cities, I could not be more proud to be part of a partnership that is addressing the issue. What excites me the most about these projects are the vast amount of ripple effects that can be felt. More residents in San Francisco means a revitalized downtown, more jobs, less pollution, and increased public transportation. And by repurposing existing buildings, as opposed to constructing new ones, we can slash carbon emissions by up to 75%. Through WeWork and Amazon, we have the power to transform emptiness into opportunity and fulfill SDG 11. Thank you.
I guess I'm the last one. My name is Carter Ellis. I am from Group U11, and we are Greenback Consulting. Let's face it, we at Water Asset Management are falling behind our other investment firm counterparts by not focusing on the triple bottom line for our investments. That is profit, people, and the planet. We do a good job with helping our stakeholders consume water more responsibly. However, those farmers that we are helping are struggling, our long-term profits are at risk, and the Colorado River is in a drought that we have not seen in generations. The Colorado River has lost nearly 8 trillion gallons in water flows in the last 20 years, and over 40 million people rely on that as their water source. Mr. Desario, you as the founder of Water Asset Management founded this firm, not just to generate profits for our investors, but also to create a measurable impact on all stakeholders and users of the Colorado River. As I mentioned earlier, we are not doing enough for our stakeholders. We should not just be helping farmers, we should be helping others, like other big users of the Colorado River, such as power plants. By doing that and helping them reduce their water usage, we'll be achieving the United Nations Sustainability Development Goal 12 and 6. And not only will we make a measurable impact on society, but this will help our profits immensely. Thank you so much.
First of all of you, congratulations, and aren't you glad you finished? And now I'd invite the senior judges, just if, maybe Drew, if you could begin, just general observations or anything that you'd like to highlight.
Check. It's working.
Yes.
First off, good morning, everyone. I just want to say to start, this is not easy, right? It's a lot harder than it looks. And 90 seconds goes by at lightning speed. But I just want to say the teams did a great job. And staying calm, staying cool, being able to communicate the intent, some data in there, and then being able to propose solutions is not an easy thing to do, but the teams did a fantastic job. That's my overall comments.
And Drew, if you could quickly introduce yourself and each of the senior judges,
Yeah,
for those who
absolutely.
didn't have a chance to meet you
For
yesterday.
sure, yeah. My name is Drew Krupp. I run a management consultancy firm called Quantum Performance Partners. I work with private equity funds. I lead merger integrations, carve-outs, turnarounds. Prior to that, I was the chief operating officer of a $750 million revenue protein manufacturer here in LA. I also launched businesses for Amazon Fresh in San Francisco and in New York City. And I've worked at a couple top-tier consultancy firms. Thank you.
So I guess I'll start with the introduction. That was an impressive list of things. I'm just a professor of business ethics and sustainability.
IBESCC, so kind of an outlier in some ways. I just want to say awesome job to all of you. I will basically just echo what Drew said. This is a pretty big room, and being up there feels a lot different. I've been up there before, and you're like, whoa, even if you've spoken many, many times, it's a pretty big impact. Love that there was a little bit of personality sprinkled in some of those presentations. Love to see pretending dialogue and enacting. And like Drew said, the stats were fantastic. In some cases, it was great. We can add a little punch with the finances because an executive's going to want to hear that, even though they want to hear they want to hear the ethical, they don't maybe want to hear the ethical side of what they're doing wrong, but at the same time to show them that there's also the economic gain as well. That was a really nice touch. So thank you all for doing this and for being so brave so early in the morning.
My name is Barney Rosenberg, and I gave up work for Lent. I'm retired, and the company that I left at retirement was founded actually in 1850, when some brilliant people invented altimeters for hot air balloons. And today they make something on everything that flies, even the International Space Station. And they let me come to work there for 15 years. I ran the ethics program globally. This is really difficult because what you have to do in those 90 seconds is get somebody's attention. And one of the things that stood out for me was the presentation by Team U37, where the speaker spoke about his daughter's health. That got my attention. And anything you can do like that to make it personal, to bring that person in, and maybe even keep them on the elevator a little longer, or invite you to get off the elevator with them to continue the conversation. Well done.
Good morning. My name is Tiffany Scurry. I'm Chief Risk and Compliance Officer at Advanced Micro Devices, AMD. We make AI chips and graphic processing units. I'm going to maybe go a little different way and give a piece of advice, something that I have found over many years of being up there doing what you just did, which is really hard, and doing that over and over and over again, trying a lot of different things. I've hired coaches to help me become better at this, and so I just want to share a tip, something that works for me. I noticed, you get up there, you get nervous, and you forget what you're going to say, and you're like, oh, I forgot my line, what's my line, what's my line? Don't have a script, right? You can maybe start brainstorming, ideating by writing a script, but then your next step is to break that down into maybe 3 talking points for the most. Have your 3 points that you want to make. And then you don't need to memorize a script. You don't need to remember a script. And when you freeze, because you will freeze, I mean, things just scare you and you freeze. I still do all the time. Now I only have 3 talking points to remember. I just need to remember which one was I on and then get back to that. I will use those 3 points and I will practice my 90 seconds over and over and over again before I have to do it. This is how you memorize your elevator speech. You all should have an elevator speech anyway, just about yourself. For when you do bump into the CEO in the elevator, it's a real thing, it happens, you gotta have it ready. But you just need to remember those 3 points and you get back on track really easily. And every time you practice it, it's gonna sound different, and that's okay. It doesn't need to be a script, just the 3 points you wanna make. So that helps me, and I hope it'll help you in these scary situations.
Good morning. A lot of good advice so far. I'm Annie Krett. I work on sustainable investing strategy at LA Capital. I think you've all done a fantastic job. My only point of advice would be, if you hear yourself using the words think or believe, see if you can remove those and let the facts speak for themselves. I think it's one of the most important things that can be done for this movement is to move out of belief and into materiality and into fact, because we all know that it's definitely possible and proven to have, the triple bottom line proven. So.
Dale Smith, I've chatted with you before. I had the pleasure of just listening, and I don't have to make tough choices. But I think what made me feel really good about listening to all of these presentations was the passion that you brought to the purpose of your presentations. And I thought that was amazing. I also agree with the judge about don't worry about having to have exactly every word, because those words will leave you. And as you get older, they leave you more often. So you just have to be able to be confident about, you know this topic better than anyone else. Let the passion be your drive and practice it a lot, but it can be different every single time. So I also agree with that. I thought that was great advice.
Good morning. Outstanding job. It's a pleasure being here. And yes, I'm Doug Wolf. Hail from Northern California. I'm a global real estate executive. I've developed in over 65 countries, and sustainability is part of my DNA. It's in all of our business lines right now. We do it naturally. If you don't, you're failing. And so I applaud you for what you're doing to bring that to the forefront. Echo what you said, 3 points. You know, even when in business, have 3 CPIs or KPIs. That's all you can remember. When you have more than 3, you forget it. And you have to start writing them down. What really stood out were the ones that had a good opening line that grabbed you, pulled you in, clearly articulated through with conviction and confidence. Some of the language, make it definitive, make sure when you use words like about or hesitate, they cast a little doubt. So just understand those 3 points, get that across, and then the ones that have a great close, you know, they lead you there. And then you'll want to practice an elevator speech, which is even shorter. There it's, you know, you got maybe 20 seconds. So what are you going to say that's going to grab the leader, and then pique his curiosity so he wants to lead in and ask you more, and what you did right there be what you do when you walk out of the elevator to close the deal. So I wish you well in your careers.
Thank you.
Everyone has such great wisdom. I don't know what I'm going to add. Hi, I'm Amy Kaplan-Wolf, and this has been a blast for me to watch you all. I mean, I'm so impressed. I don't think if I was your age, I would be able to do this the years before. So you guys have really hired the bar. But I had global HR practices for large software tech companies and also a couple of public boards. So I think that one thing I'd say is, first of all, I love the fact you're very data-driven, because they want to hear data. They don't want to hear, I feel, we all want to feel, but we also want, back to the point, the facts behind what we're saying. And I told my teams this when I was giving feedback, talk slow. Now 90 seconds is short, but if you're garbled and talking too fast, you're going to waste that 90 seconds. And I know when you think you're talking slow, you really aren't, because it's faster than you think. So to the point they said about the 3 points you can make, also realize don't exhaust your audience, which I have a tendency to do, which is giving them too much content, and then they're overwhelmed and don't know what to do with it. So that pithy, grab them, like make it personal, tell that story, and then back it up with the facts, and then end with a call to action makes a huge difference. And I saw the ones that I just judged, I thought were most successful doing that. But remember, you're having a conversation. You're not talking from a script. Make it real, make it authentic, show that passion, but also have the facts behind it, and slow down.
Two quick things, and then a transition to our next event. I really like the framework that says that there's 3 ethical leadership competencies that are foundational. The first is the ability to recognize an ethical issue. The second is the ability to make an ethical decision. And the third is the ability to be persuasive about ethics. The giving voice to ethics, to speaking in a way that is compelling and engaging, is such an important skill. To be an ethical leader and to lead an organization ethically. But it takes a lot of practice. I liken it to muscle memory in athletics. I'm the worst athlete you've ever met in your entire life. I have a son who's really an elite athlete, and we were at the driving range, and he hits this ball, it's going 100 miles, it's great. I hit mine, God knows what's happening. He goes, you know, Dad, I've trained my body so that when I tell my body to do something, it does that. Yours doesn't work like that. No, it doesn't. For me, it takes a lot of practice. And so some of you will walk away going, killed it. Some of you will walk away going, that wasn't what I had in mind. But this is all practice. This is building muscle memory. And it's so critical for ethical leaders to just walk away saying, tomorrow I'll be a little bit better because of what I experienced yesterday. So really just recognize you're building skill sets, So important. The other one I like to attribute to my father, who was a very successful salesperson. And he taught me the lesson that whenever you have an interaction, you really want to focus not only on what you want the audience, the elevator pitch, whoever, not just what you want them to know, but you focus on the feeling you want them to have of you at the end of that interaction. What you really want in any kind of presentation, 25-minute, 90-second, 10-minute, any one that you do, is you go, boy, that person's sharp. Bring her back in, I want to talk. That's just so important. I tell these stories, I'm a storyteller, I apologize. I was in an executive forum group we met every month, and we used to meet in a yacht club and overlooking the water, and we'd have a beautiful lunch, and then this speaker comes in, and he literally goes like this. I would like to talk to you about our organizational chart, and everybody's going. I fell asleep, I apologize. I was in a boardroom, 30 executives from a $5 billion corporation, 2 young 18-year-old women from a local nonprofit who benefited from the nonprofit came in. They owned the room. Their presence was so powerful. The feeling that they engendered, not only of their own responsibility, but the responsibility they were asking us to have to their organization. They walked out after a couple of minutes, and the whole room said, what do they need? Feeling is so important. Feeling is so important. And you focused on those things. So anyway, congratulations, wonderful work.